Now go to work, bitch.
Hello and welcome back to Stoneblock 2. In this episode we are going to cover the reactor. The one that I've been showing you that I've not built yet. I thought I'd better get round to it. Now I've got my... Oh my god. I don't have the coronavirus. I do. Oh, okay. What's with the mask? Oh dear, oh dear.
Over there.
Okay, I'll stay. You stay there. Yeah, about 20 metres between us. Right. I'll show you this bit first because you're going to need to make quite a few of these. Because you need to make one of these for every 4 of these you make. Because you can make 4 of them at a time. So what you need to do is, this is quite easy stuff. You should all have this stuff basically. If you're following us week on week, I'm sure I've gone over this graphite bar twice. But I shall go over it again for you, so don't worry. You will need 4 iron ingots, 2 graphite bars, 2 gold ingots and 1 redstone. That would make you the reactor casing core. This goes inside these and these go inside most of those. So you're going to need to build quite a lot of them and quite a lot of these. So to make the reactor casing you're going to need 4 iron ingots, 4 graphite bars and then the reactor casing core you've just built. Now to make the graphite, there's 2 ways you can do it. You do it in normal furnaces. These are just electric furnaces because that's what I had at hand. But any furnace will cook these. You can put either charcoal in or you can put coal in. And it'll make you one of these graphite bars. Now I'm pretty certain you're going to have lots and lots of coal or charcoal. We've got bucket loads of it, so it wasn't that hard for us. When you do make this, it makes 4 for every time you do this. So at least that's the good side, but you're still going to have to make loads of these. You'll see why in a minute. Now you do need to make the glass for it because this is a combination of reactor casing and reactor glass. But it's not too bad. Again, you're going to be making reactor casing. All you need is 2 pieces of glass with a piece of reactor casing and it'll make you 1 of these. You're going to need quite a few of these as well. Now this is the reactor fuel rod. Now the build I'm going to make over here is going to be a tiny one. It's nowhere near the size that I've got. This is to start you off. This should give you more than enough. I can show you how to make them bigger if you wanted. But I'm just going to do the simple build for now. Now all you need is 6 iron ingots, 2 graphite bars, so not very dear at the moment, very cheap. You should have, if you're following us week on week, you should have loads of these. This uranium ingot, with the sieving that we do, if you follow my tutorial on the auto sieving, you should have uranium dust. When you put uranium dust in a furnace, any furnace, it will turn it into uranium ingot. Now you can make this with uranium or you can make it with yellorium, which is the yellow one, excuse me. But you're probably going to only need, for this build, 3 of these, no more. Moving on to the next part, this is the reactor controller. This is the important bit. This is what you use to turn it on and to turn it off. So you will need 4 pieces of reactor casing, 2 yellorium or 2 I forgot what the other one's called now. Uranium. So you can either use yellorium or uranium in here. It doesn't have to be, it could be one or the other, but it needs to be either yellorium or uranium, not one of one and one of the other, it won't work. So 4 pieces of reactor casing, 2 of yellorium or uranium, redstone dust and a diamond. So again, it's not that expensive. You'll probably understand why I built mine so quick as soon as I could, because I wanted the power. Now this is to get the energy out of the reactor to either your storage device for storing your RF, or to your machines, your furnaces, pulverizers, smelters, whatever you've got on. So again, it's quite cheap. It's only 4 reactor casing and 4 redstone dust. Like I said, if you've been following us in our tutorials, you should have bucket loads of this stuff, because we have. Now, this item here is the reactor access port. You have to make 2 of these, because if you click it with a hammer, which Bingo Head Josh has, when you place this, it will have yellow arrows pointing inwards. That's your intake. So that's what your uranium or your yellorium go into the reactor, into the rod, to make the reactor work. If you right click it with the hammer, with the spanner, it then turns it blue with arrows pointing outwards. That's the outlet, because when you put uranium or yellorium in, you get a byproduct, a used product that comes out. Now you can place that in the 9 squares together on a crafting table, and it will make 1 other type of ingot that can be re-put back inside the reactor and used. So you can reuse everything, so don't worry about that. So to make this, you need 4 reactor casings, 1 chest, 1 piston. Now if I've got to show you how to make a chest and a piston, I'm wasting my time here. You might as well just pack up and go and play vanilla Minecraft, because everyone should know how to make a piston and a chest by now.
Well, I mean, maybe.
You're closer than 2. You're closer than 2 meters, mate. I mean, I only got your gas mask on, but I might just cough in your face. Sorry. So the last piece that we need to make for this is the reactor controller rod. Now this goes on top of the fuel rod glass, because you can actually click on this and you can change the amount of power it puts out. So on this we've got 4 pieces of redstone reactor casing, 3 graphite bars, 1 redstone, and again this can either be yellorium ingot or uranium ingot, doesn't matter which. So once you've done all that, what I like to do is I like to dig mine down into the ground, so you don't have 2 blocks high of seeing all this. I want it to look nice, so I always put mine in the floor. You do need to cover the floor and build on these reactor casings. If not, it won't work. You'll see what I mean when I get to the end. Now what I do is I like to do it so that I place one in the middle, and I make sure I've got a minimum of 2 before I put my outer wall down, because you need to put water around this to keep it cool, or it's going to melt or not work or self-destruct. I don't actually know, because I've never done it without water. Might not even work. So I always leave a minimum of 1 around the outside so I can place water. In my reactor, when I first built it, I had it down to 2 or 3 all the way around, because I knew that I wouldn't need to extend it anymore to put more rods in, because you place the rods like this inside if you was to make it 1 casing wider all the way around, because you need to have water between them to keep them cool, otherwise they don't become very efficient. But like I said, this one is going to be a bog standard tiny one, so it's going to have 1 gap all the way around it. Now what you do need to do is you need to build the corners up with this reactor casing. Now I'm going to do it too high for the moment, and right in the middle here, this is where you put your reactor fuel rod. Now I'm going to do this 3 high, because this, the reactor control rod, needs to go on top. If you right click that, yeah, right click it, I can't remember. No, you don't. No, they must have changed that then. It used to be able to access GUI inside there and turn it up and down. Not to worry. So now what you need to do is, now you've got it, so this is your height, you need to build this up to the same height. Why the hell are you in an obsidian box over there?
Keeping away. I'm keeping my distance.
Does that drop down to water or something? Is that to hold all the water back?
Man, I'm having my steam bar.
Oh my god.
Oh, dang it, I can't put
Never a dull moment on here. Oh look. Bloody lag's coming in again. Now once you get it to the same height as this, you then need to go around the top like this. Now I know you're thinking, but I've left great big holes in the middle. I will show you why in a minute. Now then, when you come to this, now you can either put some blocks down like this, or you can leave it spare and you can place your reactor control rod, your reactor controller here, because your reactor controller, I don't think it's going to let me access it at the minute. No, because it's not set up right. Right, what you will need to do is you'll need to put your reactor casing to one side and reactor casing to the other side. Now, will that let me change that if I do? Yes, it will. I don't need the spanner now. So if you remember what I said earlier on was over there, you've got arrows going in, which means that's putting the uranium or the yellorium ingots in, and then you've got an out, which then takes it out. On mine, I've got Ender IO conduit going in from a chest, so I can fill the chest up with how many I want. Then I'll put another one coming out from there to another chest, so it takes the stuff out. So I haven't got to keep going in here to add more, and then going in here and taking out. Otherwise, it will react. It will affect how this works. So now we've done that, this is where the glass comes in. This is the reactor glass. You need to place the reactor glass on top. This actually looks quite nasty, so I'm going to actually change this. I'm going to take this, this and this out, this, and this out, and I'm going to replace it because I don't like the way that looks. Just my preference. I like it, everything to look nice, neat, tidy, symmetrical and everything else. Otherwise it just does my head in. There we go, and then I'll put my glass down like this. Right. Then on this side here, see what I tend to do, I'll just explain quickly. When I put that at the front, I like to put my power out in at the back. Alright, just my preference. You don't need to do this. It's your own personal choice. You can have it to the side here. If you've got it any bigger, you could actually have it at the front if you wanted. But what I'd say is if you're putting more than 3 or 4 of these in the centre around, if you make this any wider, then I would strongly suggest that you have more than one down, because these will only send a certain amount of power out. They're capped. I normally have
reactor
3 or so.
Meltdown. Reactor meltdown.
What are you doing?
Reactor meltdown. Reactor meltdown.
Oh my god. I'll tell you what, it is nigh on impossible working with this guy, it really is. Right, so far, as you've seen, it's pretty basic. Now all you do is, the holes you've got, you block it. You block it with your glass. So you can't put anything else in here apart from glass. I'm going to quickly turn this on, and then COVID-19 will be the least of his problems. It will be the reactor gel. Coming out you come. So I can close this up.
You can't fit through.
That's because you've got your mask on. Right, when you come up here, you need to place down the reactor casing. But before we do this, we need to fill this with water. Now, I didn't get a water bucket out, so I'll quickly nick one now. Like I said, this is our tutorial room, so anything that gets built in here gets broken down, we don't use it. So you need to place the water, so there's a water source all the way around, because you don't want this thing getting hot. So let's do the same here, one there, one there, one there. There we go, that's all done. So then you grab these blocks and you finish blocking the rest of the holes up. Now if I get this right, you'll see that this roof will change. You see that? Normally, change. This means you've built it right. This is all ready to rock and roll. So you jump down here, we'll get ourselves some uranium. Where are we? Oh, just went past it. Give ourselves a stack. Right, you go into this one here, right, and you place that in here. Right, it's only taken a few because it's only a single. Now when you click on this, you then get the GUI, it all comes up. Now this is telling you how much fuel you have in it, because it's obviously full. This will give you the casing heat, this will give you the core heat, and this will give you the amount of power you can store, or the amount of power it's going to store internally. So if you click the activate reactor, it will start to kick in. Now the temperature will run high on these because this is only a single core, it's only got one bit of water around. You can put other types of water in there for different types of cooling. But for this game, it's not like you're powering great big factions with huge, great electronic everything. You're not going to need that much. And as you can see, there we go. It's starting to fill up with electricity now, or with RF. So this will take no time at all to fill up.
Hey, come here. Come here. Look up. Look up. Up there, come here.
Hang on. Oh, the lag.
What's this?
Well, I tried to click on this earlier on. Normally, you could put the rod. Oh, you can. Now it's all working. You can. Right. This is the reactor rod, reactor control rod. Now, my understanding is that you can increase or decrease how much power you produce. So if you're producing too much power, it's getting too hot, you can actually twiddle around with this, which will then make it so that when you come in here, this won't run as hot. I mean, this isn't running nowhere near hot enough. My big reactor runs 2 bars from the top there, and this runs about a quarter of the way up. And even then, it's nowhere running hot. This is how many, it's giving 1,992 and a half almost RF per tick it's producing. It's running 1,515 C, which as you can see, it's not all the way at the top, so that's perfectly fine. This is the casing heat. This will be the heat on the outside of this. It isn't very hot, so if you touch it, you don't burn yourself. Look, see, not burning at all. No, I'm joking, don't worry like that. This tells you how much fuel you're using. Now, the lower that number is between the 1.0 means you're using hardly anything. I mean, this is making 0.083 millibuckets per tick. So it's 0.083 millibuckets per tick per ingot, which is why it hasn't taken a lot. And if we go into here, it's not used any yet, because when it uses one, it will fit it in there. So we've made all this so far, and this will climb all the way to the top, and it's not used one ingot yet. Not one. Because if it had done, it would have it in there. Although you could just do this with one now and have going in there and going in there, but I'm old school, so I've done a different way. And then last one on this is running at 100%. How heavily irradiated the core is. High levels of radiation reduce fuel burning. So it's 100%. So it's working very efficiently. There you go. It's just used its first piece of core now. So 2.5% is depleted. So do bear in mind. It hasn't come through yet. Do bear in mind. Let's just come through on here. No. Do bear in mind this is only a single core and it's only 3 high. Mine has 5 of these in it and they go 7 high, and I produce a lot. It doesn't take, it takes seconds for me to fill that what's that, that 100,000 or 100 million, no, 10 million RF per tick, or 10 million RF in there. So you're stuck in the door.
Hello,
so,
welcome to my humble.
Hello. So as you can see, it can be a little bit expensive, and it's a bit tricky on getting all the bits and pieces together, but you'll know when you'll get it right because you'll get this design. You'll get this design around the outside here. If you don't get this design, it still looks like you're placed blocks, then you've done something wrong. But it is pretty basic and easy. I mean, you know, that's producing loads and loads of...
Dude, this door's massive. Yeah, well, you've got to be a giant to fit through this door.
Oh my god, he just loves playing. So that is how I made my reactor. As you can see, it's very easy, it's very simple, it's not difficult to make, it's not difficult to build. The materials can be a little bit hit and miss, but if you've been following us week on week, which is why I left this till the very, very end, because I wanted to make sure that you had enough stuff. But then I forgot all about it and got a bit carried away. But that is how you make it. If you wanted to make more, like I said, do it in a zigzag from it, because you want to make sure you get water between these, otherwise it's just going to get too hot and it's just going to burn fuel like there's no tomorrow. So I've got one in there, 3 high. My one down there, I think it's got 20 of those in, going 7 high. So I produce, well, more power than I'm ever going to use in this series. But that's the way I like it. I like to make things big and spectacular. But that's what I mean. This is very, very simple, very, very easy. When I first joined this game, I used the coal generators. I did look into going over to doing the lava dynamos, but then I went up to the ore dimension. Once I went up there and I started to get loads and loads of ores and I started to cook them, I then started to make this, and I've stuck with this type of design. I've just made it bigger and bigger and bigger as I've needed more and more power. So I hope this has helped you. I hope you find this entertaining, especially with Gas Mark dude there, and he's putting his flashy doors around everywhere. I don't know. I really wonder with him sometimes. I'm going to go and cough on him again. There you go. Oh my god. Anyway, I hope you find this interesting. I hope it helped you with a few questions. Well, give you a few answers on how to build these. People look at these and probably think, oh no, these are going to be too technical. As I've shown you, it's not. It's easy. I do all this with my eyes closed. I've been building these for a couple of years now, or a year at least. So if you like my videos, if you like what I'm doing, even if you've got any questions, like, comment and subscribe. And thank you very much, and goodbye. You're not saying goodbye this time, though?
No, your inside face looks very funny.
My what?
Your inside face looks very funny.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.